Welcome everybody to the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. So today we're doing a reading that could range anywhere from something very subtle to something quite in your face and transgressive, but nevertheless necessary, because the underlying energy or intention of this reading is to look at some form of social rule, how we do things around here, that kind of thing, in a friendship situation, a social situation, a work situation, a political situation, a spiritual situation, whatever it is, something that you need to either make a new rule or that you need to break for the good of yourself and others. And so it's picking up all the proud traditions where we've questioned the things that we've taken as almost the self-evident. We question self-evident itself as though it's a kind of an oxymoron, that often what we think is self-evident is just something that we've been habituated into. And so whether it's politically, socially, spiritually, there are times where the great iconoclasts, I guess, break the rules or make new rules that take us forward in a positive way. I saw it a lot with organisational change over the years in the job that I did before I sort of semi-retired and decided to do this instead. There are definitely things that a time that an idea has come or a time that an idea needs to pass on so that we can actually do something that's more inclusive, more caring, more productive, whatever it might be. Also, we see that in other ways in terms of industry and so forth, and the way that we create, industrially or in any form, technologically, all of these things. So this is what we're looking at, that energy. So we're asking and we're particularly looking at the social side of things. What social rule are you either going to make or break, or a bit of both, going forward? Where are you going to be the iconoclast that's necessary? That's what this is all about. So it's looking for the inner rebel within you, the inner innovator in you, all of that kind of thing. As I say, depending upon what we get, it could be very subtle or it could be very full on. And it could be a little bit of both, as I say, with making or breaking. So we're going to start the reading trying to sort out the area of life and what energy we're looking at, and then we'll look into it more with tarot and so forth. And the inspiration came actually from the tarot that I want to use. It's a new tarot that I've got called the Retro Impression Tarot from the Vermilion collection. The details for that and all the cards that I use in this reading are in the description box below as usual. It's a very stylized Rider-Waite Smith-based deck. It looks sort of a particular period in time that might have been very genteel. And I was thinking about that. This is how I came to this topic, because there's something about polite society that can certainly facilitate good things, politeness, courtesy, all that kind of thing, but can also restrict us and embed things that need to shift. So I felt like it was a perfect deck to use to sort of look at the almost the beauty of both change and also what is not changed, like what we do to make sure that we're always supporting each other, but how we go through change and so forth. And that in a social thing, which is what I'm trying to look at here, what we do socially in one form or another, this deck just seemed to talk of the appearances side of it for both the positive and also the restrictive. So I felt it was a perfect deck for this particular idea. And as I say, it kind of inspired it really. So that's where we're going. I'm using the Divine Circus Oracle to start with positioning the kind of energy we're talking about and to help you with your choice. Of course, you can go to more than one reading if you feel drawn to more than one reading. But to help with the choice, pile 1 has Dark Harlequin, pile 2 has Circus of Love, and pile 3 has the Juggler. So when you know what reading or readings you want to go to, the timestamps as always are in the description box below, and I'll see you at your reading. Welcome, pile 1, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Dark Harlequin. And Dark Harlequin is an energy of spiritual, and I would think in this context, social exploration. It's a card that talks about the fact that you are an explorer and you're actually quite comfortable with the new. And I definitely think, particularly with the energy here with the astrology, that this is more about you making some new rules, but maybe in a situation that feels very unfamiliar or very strange. But it's part of your destiny, it's part of who you are to do this, and the time is right to do it. So in a lot of ways, the stars are aligning. And I think with Venus here, there is definitely a sort of sense that this may be easier than it would be for potentially other people. And I think it is because with Dark Harlequin, you're not afraid of the shadow, you're not afraid of asking the difficult questions, you're not afraid of looking at something in detail and trying to clarify it and find your way through when things are not clear. And the areas of your life, you got two major arcana, so there's very externally focused. It's very much about connection with other people, absolutely on point for this sort of reading. We have the Lovers, relationships here. We have also the Wheel of Fortune with destiny. So as I say, you are meant to do this. This is the right timing. It's a positive thing. But I feel what's triggering it for you is some form of relationship, whether it's a love relationship, and it could very well be with Venus here. It could in fact be the potential ideal, the ideal love relationship with Neptune as well. But also with Neptune, which fits with the dark Harlequin here, there's a sense of it not being clear, like something, it's very new, very different. And the way that this particular deck represents the Lovers is very interesting. It's sort of, they're kind of connected, but they're also pulling away in different directions. So I feel as though this could be about love or a very close friendship. In any case, a relationship or set of relationships that the time is right for, but which are very, very different. And I feel as though there's almost a bridge that you need to create. So it may be a situation where you've met someone, fallen in love with someone who's from a very different culture and you have very different ways of doing things. You are the person who can explore that and look at how to get clarity, always with a loving sort of energy. So you have a natural diplomat energy, actually. This is why this is not about you breaking rules. You're not necessarily going into this to break rules. It's more to make a rule that reverses that pulling in different directions and starts whatever it is going in the right direction, maximizing the best outcome for all. Now, if it's not about love, but I think for many of you with both Venus there and the Lovers, it probably is. But like the Lovers is not always love relationships. If this is about friendships or a work environment or a social cause, you can see that two energies or people or groups that should be working together are not at the moment. And you can see that time is of the essence. There is an opportunity here to clarify that. So it's almost like you could go into a situation, in a sort of community cause, for instance, or a political cause or a workplace, and help be the one who asks the right questions to make a new set of rules of engagement that allow the differences to work together rather than working in opposing forces. So a change agent, a mediator, a negotiator, if this is around work in some way. But if it's around love, I think this is a love energy that's very, very different, maybe comes from a very, very different background. You're the one who's going to make the bridge of clarity and get the other person also, I think, to see that the time is right now for this, that something different has to be created that doesn't have to necessarily break down anything, but needs to, as I say, create a bridge. There's a real sense of creating a bridge here. So you are making rules that create a connection between kind of opposing forces, but forces that should not be opposing in whatever way that is. So let's see a little bit more with tarot about what are we really talking about here in terms of what is the energy that you are making a bridge for as a social, rules of engagement, as I say. 5 of Swords, the Devil, Death reversed, 7 of Pentacles, 3 of Cups. Now I'm just going to cover, just in case we have anybody from YouTube who doesn't like the sort of even like cartoon sort of things that are a little bit of nudity. So just in case, we'll just do that. So there is a battle going on, that's confirming it. It's a battle of ideas as much as anything else, but it is also a battle that's brought about by some very long-standing, powerful traditions in one form or another. And for some, this is really about something powerful. So as I say, it could be, let me just get that right. It could be that this is about some sort of political situation or work situation or something like that. But if not, this has been quite a long-standing dispute, difference or whatever. If you are falling in love with someone from a very different culture, it's two cultures that have traditionally not particularly connected, I would say. It's very much like a Romeo and Juliet sort of feeling, though without hopefully the ending of Romeo and Juliet. There's nothing to suggest that, but that kind of sense of this just doesn't mix. or it's a political situation. I'm on the right and you're on the left, and that's all there is to it. But so there's a long-standing battle here. This is why you're here to make a bridge around that, because you can see that choice on both sides have been completely blocked by that being entrapped in whatever this ancient battle that just keeps going on and on and on. So in some way, and as I say, in a workplace or something, this could just be, two teams that always compete with each other. It could be two organisations that would be better to merge together to be a stronger organisation, but they've been competing. It could be anything like that. But you've seen that this going in different directions is stopping a choice, but it's a good time for a choice. There's a real investment that could come with this that would cause a lot of celebration. So you've seen the benefit of changing things now. You've got a very strong sense of timing. And as I say, if it's love, then you can see that this is blocking a choice to something that could be very long-term, very, very much something to celebrate, and could bring people together in much the same way as the Three of Cups tends to bring people together. So it's just confirming this is something pretty baked in. And that's why it's not really about breaking it. I don't feel like you're breaking it. It's a much more gentle energy that you bring in to create the bridge that shows the mutual benefit. It's like you show the win-win in a situation with this. So who is going to support you? The Queen of Swords reversed. Now I can maybe move these away. And the Knight of Swords reversed. Okay. The Moon reversed. The Star reversed. Okay. Firstly, I would say, in whatever way you were supported, it won't be that visible. It's kind of like if this was in, like two families or whatever, it's like you'd find that you each, you and your partner did have support on both sides of the family, but they're not going to openly come out and say it. They'll just tell you and go, yeah, we get it. It's the right thing to do. If it's in a workplace or something like that, it's very on the down low, but there is support. It's coming actually from places that you would least expect it. It's coming from places that you would normally think are averse to change and are highly critical of any change. It's going to surprise you a bit. You'll find, as I say, even if it isn't overt, you're going to get support where you least expect it and from where you would most expect the critique. So it's interesting. And this is partly why I think you've got the Dark Harlequin. This is different. It's going to, and even what you discover as you go through is going to be different. You might have thought that there were certain people who were very key to the old order who actually secretly don't want the old order, and they're happy to see something, but they weren't in a position to be able to articulate it. But they're people that you would expect a lot of critique and a lot of block from. And one of the first things you're going to find, and this is sort of Venus with Neptune, is it's going to go a lot easier than you think. People who think there's something here that needs to be brought to the surface, that thinks that this pattern has been too limiting. So certainly people who think the truth has to come out about something are going to support you. And those who feel that they've been blocked as well are going to support you. So as I say, whether it's around a love relationship where others have had that sort of feeling within the cultures, or whether it's in a work environment, I think there's two forms. There's ones where there's like almost the truth tellers and those who have felt similarly limited, and those that, as I say, you would have thought were the bastions of the old order are actually going to support you bringing in the new social rules. So that's really good. So where is there going to be resistance? Because there's always resistance with breaking and making new social rules. So where are you going to get the resistance? Because it's not going to be where you expect to. So where is it coming from? Ten of Pentacles reversed. Nine of Swords reversed. Six of Cups. Okay. Although it's not going to come exactly, you do think there are some people in this, in whatever it is that you're needing to sort of move through so that the bridge can be created. There are going to be people you would expect to critique it and stop it that won't. But you're also right that there are people who have a lot of anxiety about any kind of change that has a material outcome, or an outcome that is social, or about sort of impact on sort of later generations. Like, If this is in an organisation, it's the people who would see this change as potentially affecting the bottom line, making them worried about their original vision. Like, is it taking it somewhere completely other? If it was something like an organisation that needed a merger and acquisition, it might be that they feel I'm no longer going to be the boss, so they don't want that. If it's around love and family type of and cultural things, then it's those who feel the erosion of their legacy and the wish to go back to the past. So some of what you expect as a block will be there, but some of the people that you expected to show this energy won't be the ones that show it. So that's sort of interesting. There will be some surprises coming up as you make this bridge. But I think overall you're going to have quite a lot of support because it's time, as I say, it's time for this to occur. Okay, so wanted to get you some supports at a kind of mythological level because, you know, when you're being an iconoclast, you're creating a new mythos, you're creating a new way of doing things. So we're going to get a couple of Greek mythological characters and we're going to get a couple of mythical creatures. And then we're going to get a piece of advice or some messages from each of them. So at the mythic sort of level, in terms of Greek mythology around you, energetically for this, we have Eros. A lot of you, this is about love, passion and so forth, and how you love and who you love. And we have Perseus. Yeah, going out and doing the new, taking on the sort of demons, you know, being prepared to be. So this is because of the passion you have for whatever this issue is, or the people or the person, you're going to be prepared to go on the journey to do this. And you are able to go into the shadow, deal with the mythological beasts and so forth. So speaking of that, how is that being manifest around this social dynamic for you? Unicorn, dreaming. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you have imagined. Yeah, so you're very unusual. You're bringing in something new. Well, only you can really do it. And Leviathan, rebirth. Remember, you have the capacity to choose. Choose life, choose love, choose health, choose happiness. So Leviathan is the dragon of chaos. So there is a kind of a sense of like you are risking chaos to do this. You are tilting at something very long-standing and very powerful. But Leviathan is a very powerful energy of rebirth, karmic energy and so forth. So, and your uniqueness is why this is going to work. Now we're going to use the straight talking tarot, which is called that, but it's not really a tarot. It's just more some messages and images to give some really to the point advice, which is always necessary when we're talking about social norms and mores. So each of them is going to have one for you. It could be a warning. It could be a blessing. It could just be an observation. So firstly, around Eros, around your passion nature, that's probably driving this change that, you know, this shift, this new rule that you're making. Okay. Stay focused, and it's reversed. Eros, the more passionate you are about this and the more exploratory you get, the more you might go away from what you're trying to create. So Eros is saying, you know, keep that balance. When you are exploring all of this and you're kind of dealing with the pushback where it is and you're getting a bit surprised where it isn't, just try and make sure you stay focused on what your ultimate goal was. With Perseus, no, okay. That you are going to encounter people saying no. But that would be, you would expect that. So, and that's going to be where you know there are the ones that are the real pushback, when there is just a flat out no. It's going to surprise you because not everybody that you expect to do this will do it, but some will. And they are the ones that have the vested interest in the old system or the old rules. But that is coming from the energy that you need to battle, because Perseus battled. So that's something to be aware of. I don't think it's going to be that major. I do think you're going to find this works relatively easy. Let's see what the unicorn energy, your uniqueness, is bringing to the table. Bin it, getting rid of anything that isn't worth keeping. So there is a little bit of breaking social rules as well as making them. Actually, you know, it's interesting with those two together. The other thing I'm getting is that part of the resistance you might find is everybody has their own personal view about this. And it might be, you've got to kind of look for the collective view that's going to work best for everybody. So it's like if everybody's being a bit precious, because unicorns could be a bit precious, bin it. Don't get involved in that. Just keep moving forward on what causes the bridge, not what causes the difference. And then Leviathan's message to you is call now. Okay, so that could be literally call into your own sort of spiritual guidance, into the energy of what is change. Like this is really connecting to the Wheel of Fortune. The time is now. But there may also be someone that you need to talk to, someone who's very key to this. So if that resonates, it's saying do it now. Do it now because it's going to really help. Okay, let's get you some stars to guide your way as well. Air. So what you think and what you say and what you communicate is very important. Oh, I realise we have another of these. I don't really see them particularly because they're very stylised. And I don't know whether YouTube has too much of an issue with that, but just covering up the nakedness. So yeah, your communication skills and the way you think is going to be very important. 5th house, a lot of you, this is about love. Love or creativity. But it's also giving you that charm, giving the charm to, and the kind of presence with Leo, the sort of the way to lead, a leadership role for you. And the 11th house, yeah, and it is about connections with others and the social impacts of others. So it is very much a social role in whatever context it is that you're doing, a social bridge that you're creating. Okay, so just to finish off, I want to get a card from a deck that to me talks about community. I always feel like it's about community energy. So when we're talking about making or breaking new social rules, we're talking about the impact on the community. So I just want to see the energy, community energy around this for you to close out the reading. Sisterhood. Okay, again, this is going to go well, and that's also the Venus at the beginning. You don't have to be female for this, though. It could just be the connection of divine feminine, the connection of nurturing and support. So it could be moving away from a more patriarchal sort of way of doing things to something that also includes the divine feminine. But this will create better connections. That's what this is all about. You are making bridges to connect people, and there's a lot of love and a lot of heart. There'll be a bit of pushback, but it's kind of like where people want to be precious or maintain some sort of advantage they had in an old system. But by and large, most people are going to be very open to the bridge that you're creating. And the time is now. The time is now to do it, part 1. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope it was helpful. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Circus of Love. So I do think that because this card very much talks about love and relationships. I mean, it could be broader relationships than just romantic. It could be family relationships, friendships. But there's definitely something here about love and about understanding, where to find it, and if you haven't been in love for a long time, how to sort of get back into that. If you have been but you're feeling a bit lost in it, how to find yourself again. If you've kind of given up on this concept of love, how to find it again. All of those sort of energies. But there's definitely something socially going on here that you're going to break a rule to do it. And like it's not, I don't think it's a rule that should be there. It's a rule of almost rules of engagement or something like that where it's not appropriate anymore. The reason I think you're going to break it is we've got Mercury here, which is a way of thinking, communicating with Mars. This you are going to say or do something that breaks some social rules that need to be broken. And I think what follows from that is creating something better. But this is the most profound thing at the moment. It's like breaking your silence, I think. Because it's interesting. This is to stop you feeling defeated in love and stop you feeling as though you are being deceived in love. So I think that this is, someone may have done you wrong in some sense. A lover, a friend, someone socially may in fact have sold you a bill of goods, competed with you in an unfair way, lied about you. I'm sorry, but there's definitely something here where you have every reason to break a silence and say this is what's really going on. Now, whether it's as abrupt as you doing that in front of everybody, or whether this is something you say just with the person, or whether you break a rule by saying more generally, we're not being honest in these situations here. We're not being honest, and we're suppressing what we really want. This is something you're meant to win. This is you it might be you having the last say when you really need to have the last say in something. It could be also, I'm not going to I'm not going to listen to this or put up with this anymore. I know I've fallen in love. I'm going to do what I want. It could be to a family who say, no, you shouldn't be with that sort of person. No, I'm not going to listen to that anymore. There's something here. There's a real iconoclast thing coming up, but it's how you communicate. But I feel like you've been silenced for a long time, and this is about no longer letting that happen and about being really real about what's going on. So it's like you're in a very polite sort of group, but there's all this sort of nefarious competition going on under the surface, or you're around people who gradually sort of dig at you to make you feel lesser than you are, and so therefore not able to go towards what you love. But you've had enough, quite frankly. So I think what probably drew you to this reading was make or break. You're thinking, I'm going to break some rules now. And it's time. It's an important thing to do, I think. So let's see how this plays out. So let's get a little bit more information, firstly, about the social rules that you're about to break, the context of that. We have the Hermit reversed, the Wheel of Fortune, so it's definitely time. The Four of Swords reversed, yeah, speaking out. Strength, beautiful. I have to look at these a little bit sometimes to know what we're talking about. And I think that's the Nine of Cups reversed. Okay, so this is very much about coming out and saying something. It's been hidden. It's been brewing for a long time. This is saying that you are in a strong position. You're in the right. And you have to do it, or otherwise you're giving up on a dream. It's like what's triggered it. I think what's triggered it is you may have got used to being in this social situation, this family situation, this work situation, whatever it is, for so long that you just, because you didn't have something you cared enough about. So this is, you're going up to someone that you love when people are trying to tell you no, you're going after a dream, whatever it is with the 9 there reversed, it's a sense of being able to reclaim your dream. So that to me is saying that this is something where you felt disconnected, unloved, unseen, unlistened to, whatever it is for a long time, and you kind of got used to it, but you're strong enough to move forward because there's finally something which it matters. There's skin in the game. So whatever this is, and you know that you've been kind of going along with some social patterns or family patterns or whatever that are actually not true. They're not real, but you've kind of like gone, okay, you've just kind of gone within yourself, but now something matters. Okay, so let's see. Who's going to support you when you break these rules, when you speak out? And speaking out is breaking a rule here, but it's, a necessary rule to break. The Emperor. Well, that's interesting. This is like 2 cards together, so I'm going to put it down. The Emperor and the Hierophant. Wow, that's interesting. The 3 of Cups reversed and the Star. It's interesting, in one of the other readings, I just sense that you'll be surprised by who supports you. Whatever you're going to say, although it really is tilting at some unspoken, unwritten rules, social rules, they're actually, because they're illusory, they're not really what they seem. You're going to find that people who have some sort of like real power over this and kind of almost a philosophical underpinning will support you. They'll go, this is right. So if it is a sort of a family thing and you've been kind of suppressed and it's something you care about now, you're going to be surprised. Like some people who are almost scions of the family, or those who are the kind of philosophical people that I listen to, they're going to support you. They're going to go, actually, you're right about this. So that's interesting. If it's in a workplace, you'll find the powers that be are likely to support what you do. And that might surprise you. You're also going to have support by those who have felt unhappy as well, whose dreams also have been blocked, and by those who are very aspirational. So it's like whatever this is, as I say, and whatever has triggered it, whether it's you finding somebody that you love, whether it's a cause you care about, whatever it might be, it's like what you're doing, ironically, is you're breaking a rule by speaking out, but it's actually to reaffirm what should have been the rules in the first place. This is why it wasn't also making a rule, because the rules actually exist. What you're doing is breaking through an unwritten rule that actually goes opposite to what the true issue was. It breaks through the illusions. It takes away the defeat that comes from the kind of lie. So there's something like that. And you're going to find support from those who really care about what it was really meant to be, those that have felt similarly blocked, and those that are aspiring to do something. So there's quite a lot of support for you. Who's going to resist? Because usually when we're making or breaking social rules, we will get some resistance. Eight of Pentacles reversed. Eight of Swords. Two of Pentacles reversed. Okay. The main people that are going to resist whatever you're saying are kind of lazy, to be honest. They like the status quo because it suits them. They don't care that it's a little bit tied up sort of intellectually and not really serving any real growth. They don't care. They're kind of lazy. They don't want to put the work in. They don't want to make decisions. They just like the way it is. So people who are comfortable in this situation and really just don't want to put the effort in to change will resist what you're saying, because it's requiring them to think a bit differently and to actually put some effort into a material outcome. But as I say, the people that really care about the structure of whatever this is, the cultural, whatever it is, and the people who are aspirational and want to put the work in will do it. If it's around sort of, again, somebody that you love and there's competition around it, the people who are not going to support this are the ones who had it easy the way it was, and they don't, they were top dog or whatever, and they don't want that to shift. They don't want to accept there's different ways of doing things. But by and large, you're going to have more support than you expect when you do this. So wanted to look at the type of support you would get, both sort of like on a mythological and a mythical level, since when we are dealing with sort of social rules, we're dealing with sort of something that almost has a mythos. So I thought I'd get a couple of Greek mythology supports for you and a couple of mythical creatures. So let's see the Greek mythology supports for this. Rule breaking, but I think it's really about speaking out. Hypnos, okay, that's really interesting. And Dionysus. Okay, all right. So this is actually telling me something else about what's going on here. One of the reasons that whatever this has occurred, whether it's you felt, you haven't been able to pursue love because you're in a social group that's kind of, suppressing that with people for whatever reason, or being really competitive around it and like kind of pulling at your self-esteem, or whether it's in a workplace or whether it's a family thing. There's a kind of what you've got to break through here, and why talking is what needs to happen now, is you've got to break through a kind of a seductive spell. It's almost like the people at the moment are hypnotized, and the people who are going to be pushing back here are ones who are really happy to just laze back and kind of just be where they are. But the people who you remind and you wake up in whatever this is are the ones who are going to support you. But you have to wake up people from a hypnotic trance that is about, it's been pleasurable and easy to do whatever this is and very self-indulgent, but there's something that matters now. And so it's kind of like, it's like a group or a way of doing things where it's been very, very comfortable for some, and others have almost been put to sleep because there hasn't been enough agitation to do anything. But you care about something now, and the agitation is there as a result. Let's see some mythical creatures to help you. Hathor, action. Only love leads to right action. What brings order to the world is loving and letting love do what it wants. So yeah, you know this is time. It has to happen. The change has to happen. Action has to be taken. Because finally there's something that you care enough about. And that's not to say there was anything wrong that you hadn't done this before, but something really philosophically or in the heart really matters to you now. And strength. You are stronger than it seems, braver than you believe, and smarter than you think. Yeah, you're the person who's ready to do this. You've got the strength to do it, to take action. But you recently woke up to whatever this was, I think, and now you've got to get others to wake up. So let's get you some straight talking from the Straight Talking Tarot, which is a deck that just has sort of imagery and words. And this could be warnings from these supports, or it could be cheerleading, or it could just be other information. So with Hypnos, you've got to be a bit egoless and of the heart. A lot of this is about ego, and it's not your ego so much. I think you've been quite egoless. but people have gone to sleep. They've been hypnotized into something that is all about supporting the ego. So this is about getting to something that's a little bit more other person centered. With Dionysus, love reverse. Yeah, like there is a selfish, self-indulgent energy to Dionysus in this thing. And it's like, that's what's going on. It's not about love. It might appear to be about love, but it's not about love. Love is not of the ego. Love is of love. And this is why, Hathor was saying only love leads to right action. So there's something that has pretended to be these sort of things, but isn't that in this situation. With Hathor, chill out. Yeah, take action, but don't worry too much about it. You'll find you have more support than you expect. Doesn't have to be full on. You don't have to be really angry. You just need to speak out. And Strix, who's saying you have more strength than you think. I'm sorry. Okay. I think it's interesting. This has come up for another reading that I did today, which I think was just another pick a card from memory. I think that this is really, Strix is saying that it is going to be difficult. I'm sorry about that, but you have the strength. And Hathor's saying, yeah, chill out. Don't worry too much. We've got your back, but you are dealing with ego. People with egos who've masqueraded as love, but that's an illusion. This is breaking through to get to the authentic thing. And that's not necessarily going to be easy, but you're well placed to do it. And something, as I say, matters enough to do it now. So let's get you some stars to guide you. North Node, you're heading in the right direction. It's part of who you are. As I say, something matters. You've got real skin in the game now. Water, your capacity to move and flow is going to be really important here. And water over rocks changes things, but it changes it slowly and somewhat imperceptibly. So you may find that it takes a while for the change to really come through. It's also something of the heart, and so this, as I say, could be triggered by love. And Cardinal, yeah, you're the person who has to instigate it. Only you can do it. It's not sort of something you can sort of wait for somebody else to stand up and say, but because they're not, they're kind of hypnotized. You've seen it now. Okay, so to finish off the reading, I'm just using a deck that I kind of connect a lot to sort of spiritual community energy. So I'm just wanting to look at what the community energy is around this rule breaking that I think you need to do. Escape, yeah, something. Escape from the hypnotic trap and the illusions and the kind of like the kind of lazy social order that's somehow associated with it all as a result. This is about escape. And it might be that you end up leaving the group altogether. I actually kind of doubt, like leaving the family, leaving the group, whatever it is. I kind of doubt that. I think you're going to find you have support where you didn't expect it. But you need to be looking at this as an escape from a pattern that can no longer be supported. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. So you come to the reading with the Juggler. And the Juggler is about multitasking and multi-skilled. It sort of says you are multi-skilled, multitasking. You can do many things all at once. And you can work out when you need to do something on your own and when you need to draw other people in. And you're very good if you focus all of that on bringing about great collaborative and also individual outcomes. So I think this whole thing around what you are doing socially is about getting the best out of situations, both individually and with other people. I feel that you are both making and breaking rules all the time. And I think that's what's showing here with Sun and Mercury. I think the way you communicate is part of your life path, and part of your life path is about breaking through where there's conflict so that things can actually come into being, but also bringing people to their calling. I feel like this group, the way that you do this is in sort of roles like you're in an organization, you're a manager or a coach or a consultant or something like that. It's like you have a very wide view. And as I say, so therefore, at any given time, you would make a rule to bring about people following their calling, or break a rule to avoid a conflict or to resolve a conflict. You are the kind of original maverick. You're probably you were drawn to this topic because you're the original maverick, and your communication skills are very, very key to this. But I feel like it's like both. I think you're making and breaking at any given time, and I think it's more you're juggling those energies And it's to keep people on course in some way. And maybe sometimes to keep yourself on course. But I almost think you by and large are very much on course. Some people, you're going to be absolutely their cup of tea and they're going to love it. You're going to like inspire them. You're going to sort of take them out of conflict situations. You're going to be able to coach them. Others are going to find you really, really hard to deal with because they're going to be thinking, but, I like things the way they were, or who are you to tell me what to do, or why are you saying that? So I think it's the most polarizing energy of the three readings. But on the other hand, it's also one where it's just who you are. You are not sort of someone who just accepts things the way they are. You look at what you would want them to be, and you're more than happy to express that. So as I say, sometimes you will make the rules that bring everybody together, and other times you're going to break rules that are necessary to break a conflict. So very interesting. So let's get a little bit more information from Tarot about both what you're making and breaking socially. I think to bring people closer to who they are and to be less in conflict and more in harmony, I think you come from a very good place. But I think you're probably misunderstood quite often, probably almost as much as you inspire and you lead. You also get the kind of conflict as a result of this. I don't think you care too much, though. I think you know that you're on the side of the angels. But let's see a little bit more about this. We have the Page of Cups reversed, the Six of Pentacles, the Ace of Swords, the King of Swords reversed, and the Five of Pentacles reversed. Okay. You will more often than not be above the people that you're working with on all of this, or dealing with on all of this. More often than not, you're like a benefactor. More often than not, this is inspirational, benefactor, and so forth. And an ideas person. Like you have a very entrepreneurial feeling, actually. You have a feeling of sort of someone who might come in with new ideas, new businesses, seed fund, all that kind of thing. Bring people to their calling, try and break through the conflict, set up the new rules of engagement that are going to operate. You are going to have battles, though. People who don't agree with you, who just don't agree with you. And because you have to have people with you, there's something about you in whatever way you do this that you can't do your calling, and you can't sort of be the benefactor and the entrepreneur or whatever without other people. And this is potentially your Achilles heel, because some people will try and argue against that, separate you from others. And this is saying one of the things that you need to be very clear on is why this matters to you emotionally, because you have a tendency to be, here, I'm going to put the seed money here, or I'm going to help you, or I'm going to teach you, or I'm going to bring the new ideas in. And you're sort of thinking that should just be obvious what the benefit of that is, because to you it's very, very obvious, it's very, very clear. But where people aren't sure where the heart is, that's where people can separate you out from those that you could help. So when you're making rules, you need to make sure that it's clear the emotional benefit. When you're breaking them, you need to show how that isn't just to bring about conflict for conflict's sake or for lording it over people. Like it's an interesting balance you have to do, because you are very inspirational, you are very new. You are someone who's going to be not just making and breaking rules, but you're going to be making and breaking organizations, social constructs, relationships, whatever it is. And it's easy for those, well, not easy, but if you aren't very clear on the heart purpose for it, it's easier for people to turn it against you. So let's see who's going to be on your side. Who's going to support you with this? Two of Swords, Five of Cups reversed, Seven of Swords, Ten of Cups. Okay. This is why it's really important that you show the heart of it, because some of the people who are going to support you are people who've been disappointed, and they want to come out of disappointment and come to something that they feel emotionally very connected to. So if you're talking to them about their calling and how, being involved in this thing or acting in a particular way is in accordance with their calling, they have to see how that brings about a better emotional outcome and the kind of life that they want. But if you can do that, you'll really get them on board. The others are the ones who who are very strategic, who see what you do as very strategic. So they like the mind stuff that you're doing. And what they like and what they're going to go with is that it's like they see that you are giving a strategy to help make decisions when it's not clear. Like your confidence in a way is really going to bring people on board. So I think, the main detractors, and we're going to have a look at this next, are going to be people who are in some ways a bit similar to you, who want to be the boss, who want to be the coach, who want to be the leader. But the people who are going to be drawn to you are people who either see the heart connection or can see how what you're saying and how you do things and the rules that you're putting in place and the rules that you're breaking when it's necessary are all very strategic, like people who are very much about what's the strategy. So who's going to resist this? Who's going to be trying to stop or slow down any rules that you make or break? Nine of Pentacles reversed. The Eight of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles reversed. Okay. There's going to be, I think a lot of this is going to play out in workplaces or something like that. That's what it kind of looks like. And I think that there's going to be some people who, the way you're going to know they're resisting it is they're just not going to be dedicated to it and they're probably going to leave. So to some degree, that's not a big deal. Some people are just not going to... There's a thing that talks about with change, early adopters, then the people come on board, and then there's the people who are just never going to go with it. There are some that are going to vote with their feet, and they're going to leave. They can't see the emotional thing. They can't connect with the new culture, the new rules, anything along those lines. I think you're very individualistic, and I think what you're bringing in is something very individualistic. The people who don't like that. People who, like this would be, as I say, it's entrepreneurial. It feels like someone coming into an organisation, and not that you're necessarily setting everybody in competition with each other, but there is a kind of bringing in a, let's be innovative, let's be new, let's do things like, and like you're very much supporting that because you're very much an individual. I think that people who are in like in work cultures or whatever that are more about, I just want a stable, secure place where I'm with my people and I know that we're all working towards something and it's stable and it's secure and I'm not alone and I'm not being asked to sort of compete against other people. Like there's a, in different sort of organisation typologies, there's often like someone who is sort of the conscientious person who, and the socially oriented person who is more about what's it feel like for everybody? Is everybody feeling stable? Are we together? And they're very valuable. So you do need to realise these people are valuable. You don't want to lose them. But they're going to find a little bit harder with your energy. So you need to understand that, I think. That would be the one thing I would say, particularly if this is in an organisation or some sort of social group. You don't want to lose these. And it's a bit like the risk you've got all along, which is there's a heart to this as well too. Some people are going to see it and see this is what we want, but you don't lose the heart of those who are almost like the bedrock of a group or an organisation. I think that's something to be aware of because they may vote with their feet and just leave. Okay, so let's have a look at some supports for you. So I felt like if you're looking at being a rule maker or breaker, it's a kind of a bit of a mythic thing to do. So we'd start with a couple of Greek mythology figures and then also a couple of mythical creatures to give you guidance and advice. So the Greek mythological figures. The first, the Minotaur. Yeah, wow. You're powerful. What you're doing is powerful. But it's labyrinthian and it's there's like trying to navigate your way through this, and who's the power forces in it, and are they for you or are they against you, and how do you find your way? All of that kind of energy. Very strategic. You're a very strategic person. And Zeus, yeah, and you're a leader. You're a leader. And your energy is necessary in whatever this is. It really is. But it has its own shadow, and I just think it's to understand that. It's got to do with the heart and also not undervaluing those who are more about, not the status quo for a stopping advancement, but there are people, they're really important. Like if you don't have them, say in a work group or in an organisation, it's very hard to get consistency and dedication because they are so important. And they're often not seen as sort of stars, but you know what? They are really, really important. I can tell you that from years and years of organisational change and organisational work culture work. So it's just something to think about, I think. So then let's have a look at some mythical creatures for you. So we have the Nachkrap, It's talking about awareness. You don't need to judge, correct, or compare yourself to others. Everyone is at a different level of growth. Yeah, there's something about that. You are the person that comes in and makes change and brings in the new and all, and that's fantastic. And you make and break rules when you need to do that. But not everybody is at that level. I think this is just something to remember. And the phantom cat vision. When one door closes, another opens, but we often look at closed doors and do not see open ones. I think this might be how you can, if you can start to think about that with the people that you would want, the bedrock of whatever you're trying to do, how you would include them and how you would get them to see that this was an open door. So what we're going to do from each of these characters here is get a straight talking message for you that could be a challenge, it could be a piece of advice, it could be just a blessing, it could just be some extra information. So what does the Minotaur want to say to you? This is not the end. I think this is a message to these people. I think that if you understand that and you include the heart, I think this is a really strong message here because you're so strong, you're so brilliant, you're so ahead of the curve. But if you can include the heart and you remember how important these people are, it's like to show them and bring them on the journey too and show how important they are. This is not an ending. This is sort of the rejuvenation that you get with the Judgment card and like the revival energy. So it's like to help them deal with their fears. Then when we look at Zeus is saying seduction. Okay, I think there's a double message here. You are very seductive. You are very engaging. A lot of people are going to really see this either strategically or whatever, and if you show your heart, even more so. But also the seduction of power, because you are going to be powerful. If you aren't already, you are going to be powerful in life. Just be aware of that. Be aware of what that can do. Because the last thing you want, it's a bit like if you become a king or a queen, it can get to that point where nobody's going to tell you the truth. So you really do want to make sure that people know that you want the truth. Okay, then when we look at the Nachtkrupp, so this awareness about, the different levels that people are at. Actually, I don't even know what that one means, so I'm not going to do that one. Let's get another one. Caution. Okay, so this is the one, I think this is saying this is the one caution in this you might not naturally follow, so don't ignore the caution here. Also, they may have a lot of caution and you can turn that around. You can do that if you are paying attention to it. And then with the phantom cat, the vision, bringing people along on the journey. Mind, body and soul reverse. Yeah, you're maybe not covering all of these. You're definitely covering the mind and the body, but the soul and the heart, make sure that that's also included in your vision. That will really, really help. And whatever it is that you're doing when you're making and breaking these rules. Okay, let's get you some stars to guide you as well. Taurus. Yeah, it's all about the good life. It's all about creating wealth, creating good. Really, as I say, you're quite brilliant, and if people go along with what you say and do, you're going to create wealth and good outcomes for everybody. I mean, it really is a good thing, but as I say, you've just got to be aware that not everybody's as quick as you, not everybody's going to get it, some people are going to feel very disturbed, and as I say, if people are against you because they want to be Zeus, they want to be the boss, they're going to potentially use that, so you just need to be aware of it. We have Jupiter, yeah, because this is meant to be expansive, and Jupiter is another name for Zeus. So there you really are meant to be a leader and to expand everybody's fortunes. But Jupiter also has a lot of heart, and this is the thing. You really do have the heart. It's just that maybe in the rush to bring the change and do all the new things, you might be losing that a bit. And the 12th house, yeah, don't keep that hidden. Don't keep your heart hidden. And also there's a lot of psychic energy coming through you. It's the other reason why you think things more quickly and you're the kind of natural iconoclast, because you can kind of see the future. It's part of your entrepreneurial type of energy. Okay, so to finish off, I'm just drawing from a deck that I associate kind of with community energy. So I just want to see the community impact of your making and breaking social rules. Pile 3. La Luna, the moon. So this is enlightenment. This is shedding light on things. It's gentle too. The moon is more gentle than the sun. So I think it's saying bring a bit of gentleness into this, bring a bit of heart into this, then you illuminate everything. and in a way that is welcoming and helps people who are feeling a little bit in the dark and not knowing the way to go. They're going to want to follow you just as you would follow a full moon if you were sort of out in the forest or something like that. So it's a pretty significant, consistent message here. You're one of the iconoclasts and innovators and entrepreneurs of the world, and you're going to do extremely well, and people are going to do extremely well in connection with you. But you do need the people that are that kind of bedrock, and you can bring them along with you by just showing the gentleness and the heart. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you've enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.